Hey guys, Vol here again. We're on day 2 of the Warhammer Fantasy Battles Masters tournament in New Zealand, and now it is Empire against Skaven. And I've got to say, after the first day with my 3 losses, I didn't really want to have to play what I thought to be one of the toughest lists of the tournament. In fact, I guess what everybody else thought was, and that's the Skaven list, with 5 units of 20 or so slaves, 2 units of clan rats, Helpet Abomination, Warp Lightning Cannon, Plague Furnace, Grey Seer, Doom Rocket, Brass Orb. I think he's pretty much covered it in this list. To make matters worse, it's meeting engagement, meaning that he could potentially be starting the battle a bit closer to me than I would have hoped. I actually, due to the roll-off, had to deploy first, meaning that I was likely to get the first turn, a 1 in 6 chance of me not getting the first turn. And I rolled for all of my units, and it turned out just one of my cannons came up in reserve, which was, again, annoying because I needed that first turn to crack off some shots at his stuff. On the other hand, he rolled a 1 for his Plague Furnace, meaning that it was going to come on late. So I guess that's a good thing, but on the other hand, he can bring it on the side of the table closest to the guys that he wants to, so that's an advantage as well. Now, when we rolled to see who got the first turn, there was only a 1 in 6 chance of him getting it, and he still got it. So wow, things just being shocking, but still going to tough it out and do my best. There's the deployment, as you guys can see. I'm just basically going to man up, put the knights in the war altar on the left-hand flank. Going to the next photo, you see a bit of a better view of what I'm doing here. Infantry and everybody back as far as I can. I've got the building to hide behind a little bit, and I'm just put the war altar and the knights are on the left-hand side, just because that's a bit of more of a spread out area. There's less ways for them to get boxed in and stuck. So the plan here is to actually sweep around the side and kill a lot of slaves and actually leave my knights to do a lot of damage to his army. And actually, I think looking at this deployment, I'm actually quite happy with it because I've got the 3 units that it can actually fight on the left away from his Helpet Abomination. So what I could do is actually redirect the Helpet Abomination with some of my lighter units like the guns, the handgunners and the crossbows and the pistoliers. So things might work if I can survive it. Obviously I've got his magic phase to deal with as well. Next image, right around the left here, you see the war altar. He's just as far as he can next to the forest without being inside it. Wouldn't want to have to take a dangerous terrain test on the chariot, but still within 18 inches of as much stuff as he can over on the right-hand side. Going to the next image, you've seen the Skaven Helpet Abomination here, really just going to head straight up. I mean, the chances of him getting a triple is 1 in 36, so that's not really going to happen. I'm just going to have to sort of get in its way as much as I can, and man, that's a lot of slaves. It's like, wow, those slaves just hold you up turn after turn after turn unless you've got ranked units to deal with them. Luckily, I do have a few ranked units, so I'm not too worried about the slaves, but in some situations I would normally be. Next image, he actually gets the first turn as we talked about. Helpet Abomination rolls low for movement, which I was lucky about, and his Plague Furnace comes on the board, creeping up along the side. So again, he's chosen to put his Plague Furnace up against my weaker stuff, and that means that the Knights, War Altar and Flagellants will get a chance to do a lot of damage to his army and possibly threaten his characters. So I'm liking the opportunity to actually get some points there so far. Next photo, man, he unleashes the magic phase and obliterates half of the swordsman unit. He actually used Scorch, even the dreaded 13th spell here, and just did some serious damage. This is the unit with my BSB, so they passed their panic check. But that's really crippled my chances of beating his clan rats and slaves in the long term, just because he's going to have steadfast on me every single time. Wow. Next photo, what's happened here is that the war altar has charged immediately into the slaves. I'm just going to spend a while hacking away at those slaves because there's a warlock engineer there. What I actually realized that when I charged him, he actually had a brass orb and threw it at me, and I didn't realize that he could stand and shoot and throw it, but woof, luckily he missed. And the good thing about the situation too is that once I kill the warlock engineer with the war altar, his slaves may eventually break due to having low leadership on their own and being out of range of the Grey Seer, so that's a plus. And the knights not managing to get to the slaves just yet. Sooner or later they'll be able to charge in, and they should be able to take out the slaves because with the 2 ranks there, all they need to do is get rid of about 6 slaves, and they've got the combat in the bag. Next image, Skaven turn. We've got 1 unit of slaves coming in the way of the knights, the other unit coming in the way of the flagellants, and the other 2 units sticking back a little bit. Doom Rocket goes off and does some more damage, but not as much as we both feared. The Knights are really going to have to just reform rather than overrunning because he's positioned his slaves in such a way that it actually hit the back of the war altar there. Next image, on the other side of the battlefield, the Pistoliers have got in the way of the Helped Abomination, and luckily I've managed to use a spell from the Law of Shadows, the Mystifying Miasma, to reduce the movement speed of the Plague Monks pushing the furnace, so that will slow them down for a while as well. Quite happy about that little plan because it will just buy me a lot of time. And what I'm thinking of doing is just moving back into the building when he eventually gets to my side of the board, so that I can, stick around for a while with the steadfast rule in the building. I've got a combat in the middle in the ruins there between the slaves and the BSB's unit. Even though there's only about 7 or 8 guys left with a BSB there, they should be able to stick around for a while, and that prevents them from nailing the rest of the unit with magic, hopefully. Flagellants have been severely depleted further back there. But they have managed to break into combat with the slaves. Going to the next photo, the Helpet does indeed charge the Pistoliers. Luckily, with my shooting, I've actually taken it down to 3 wounds, so later on the game, with a bit of luck, I may actually be able to destroy it if I keep picking it away at it, but I think my chances will be very few and far between. Going to the next photo, this is the main battlefield here. The Flagellants still hacking away at the Clan Rats, and that's the Clan Rat unit with the BSB in it. So my knights, now having destroyed the Skaven slaves in the background, have reformed and will be able to charge the Clan Rats in the flank, and that will get me some points in the form of killing his BSB. In the meantime, my own BSB is valiantly holding the line against these slaves here. Should be able to hold them off for as long as time as I need to get the knights into that combat as well. So pretty happy there. And he's also got a sorry about the stuttering. He's also got a Warlock Engineer with the Doom Rocket, so that's some more points for me. So slowly but surely managing to stay in this game, and the good thing is that with the combat score at the end of the game, it could turn into a win for me if I play my cards right. Going to the next photo, indeed the glorious victory here, the Knights smashing into the flank of the Clan Rats. The War Altar indeed wiped out the slaves earlier on because of their low leadership, even though the Steadfast they eventually blew up, and that's freed me up to charge into the combat involving the Swordsman. So that'll give them some relief. And the Flagellants are just smashing away at these Clan Rats, and eventually should be able to destroy them here despite their steadfast. I've just got too much damage being inflicted on them for them to survive, and of course the BSB going down a really big assistance to my efforts. Next photo, the Flagellants have come free of that combat, having destroyed the BSB. The Knights are freed up now as well, and I've moved the Flagellants over here. You can see his Gracier in the background, and his Gracier is actually starting to get a little bit closer to the danger at this point, so without Skittle Leap, because he didn't choose Skittle Leap, he may have to do a bit of manoeuvring, and with the Flagellants there as well, it gives me a chance to go and maybe pick up a wound from the Helped Abomination, or at least get in their way. And Swordsman, of course, hacking and slashing away at the Clan Rats and the slaves, as if their life depended on it, which, it does. Next image, Gutter Runners turning up on the cannon. The cannon actually managed to get 5 wounds off the Plague Furnace and killed the guy on top of it, which I was completely stoked about. Unfortunately, due to the stupid Plague Furnace rules, I don't actually get points for it until I've actually killed the character and got the last wound off the Furnace, so I'm going to have to spend the rest of the game trying to nail it, but hopefully I should be able to do it. Unfortunately, this cannon is not going to be doing the job now that he's been tied up in combat with Gutter Runners. Next photo, he's moved his Helped Abomination around now with still 2 wounds left, and I've got my Flagellants in the background ready to put them in front of the Helped if I can. And in the foreground, he's actually left my handgunners alone, so they're ready to shoot at the Furnace to try and take off its last wound, or redirect it if the case may be. Next photo, the Swordsmen have moved into the building. Haven't really managed to line them up properly, but as you can see, I've just got a few models behind the fence to represent the fact that that's where they're positioned. He's got a unit in front with slaves featuring a Gracier, so if I can actually take them on in combat, that would be really good. Next image, the Flagellants doing what they do best, moving in the way of the Helped Abomination. I really love this photo. You can see the looks in their faces, the looks in their eyes, that they just do not care about this Helped Abomination. And fortunately for me, that will mean that they will tie this guy up for 1 round of combat, and he won't be able to overrun into anything juicy. So yet another turn where the Helped Abomination isn't collecting big points. I guess you could say that he'd be collecting big points in the form of the 200 points to the Flagellants, but the Flagellants weren't really going to survive the battle anyway, and if it prevents me from losing a big unit of Swordsmen and BSB from the Helped Abomination, that would be preferable. Next photo, turning around here, the Plague Furnace is also trying to head towards the center of the battle. The Knights and the Waralter have sprung free from all combats, managed to wipe out all clan rats and slaves there. So with all the banners captured here, it looks like I'm in strong contention for the game, and he's got no choice but just to move his guys around aimlessly while I save the points. And there's a single swordsman there who survived, and he's representing 175 points at this point. But the gutter runners should be able to pick him off with stones. Next image, well and truly docked into the building here, where there's a unit of crossbowmen and a wizard in the building, and the swordsmen have pulled out in front. He's got his Gracier in with those slaves, but I think next turn he'll be moving the Gracier out of the unit. Next photo, the Waralter pulls around here and attempts to cast Banishment at the Plague Furnace, but unsuccessfully, and unfortunately not managing to pick off its last wound, which was really crippling for me. I just taste those points. It was just going to be a huge point swing at the end of the game if I could have pulled it off, but didn't quite manage it. In the next photo, the Knights, what's left of them, charging the Warp Lightning Cannon, severely depleted from its shooting at them, so at least I can nab 100 points or so there, while still retaining all of the points in my Knight unit. So that's a plus. In the background there, the swordsman attack the slaves, destroying them, getting points for them, and his Gracier survives. So, unfortunately, the three most costly things in his army, that is the Gracier, Plague Furnace, and Helpet Abomination, still surviving, meaning that he was slightly hit on points, but due to the comp boost, I got my final win of the tournament, and well deserved as well. Had to fight very hard for this game, but managed to come out on top. Just given the fact that with the tournament rules, a very weak army facing off against a very, very hard army, he was expected to have a win. So the handicap meant that I got it instead because it was such a close game. And yeah, fair enough too. Good system, apparently. See you guys in the next report.